Do you ever use the phrase, I'm watching what I'm eating? Or I'm watching my weight? If you have, if that's been an experience for you, then today I hope you'll stick with me because I'm going to share why that's one of my pet peeves. It's actually a phrase that I think keeps you from achieving your goals and keeps you from having honest conversations with the people who could support you if you want. I'm also going to share why I think you shouldn't use the phrase, I'm watching what I eat, if you really are looking for long term weight loss success, and give you some ideas about what to watch instead. So I hope you'll stick with me. Hi, if you're just new to me, I'm Brian. I'm a life coach and a weight loss coach. I've lost 50 kilos. I've maintained my 50 kilo weight loss for 13 and a half years. And I've helped thousands of people make changes to their habits so they can get off the diet roller coaster and actually create habits, create a lifestyle that they can love living on their way to goal and staying at goal. If you're watching a replay, type replay in the comments to let me know that you're here. Feel free to jump in with any questions and your opinions. Be aware there is a rant incoming. But I do it from a place of love and from wanting you to succeed. So I hope you'll stick with me. If you disagree, that's okay. You can let me know in the comments. So let's look at this phrase, right? When do we use the phrase, oh, I'm watching what I eat, or I'm watching my weight? I can think of 4 common scenarios where we use this phrase. We use it when we're politely declining a food that we don't like or that we don't want. Oh, no, thank you. I'm watching my weight. Or I don't really want that. Okay. And that's okay. We can use that. Of course, usually what it gets people to do is to go, oh, go on. It's just a special thing. It's a special occasion. It's a treat. One won't hurt. Even if you've been losing weight, they know you're wanting to get healthier, lose weight. They'll often say things like, but you're doing so well, you can have this. Yeah, I could have that, but I'm choosing not to. It's a way of, I know we're trying to not offend or upset the other person, right? But it's one of the ways we give up the opportunity to say what's really true for us. Yeah, I could have that, but I'm choosing not to. I'm choosing not to have that today. Anyway, so that's one occasion when we're politely declining food. We're saying about something we don't want. The second time we use it is to tell people that we're on or going on a diet, and therefore we can't eat that food. Oh no, I'm watching what I'm eating, or I'm watching my weight at the moment, right? And again, all of that does, the reason why this is such an annoyance to me, it's why I get upset about it, is because it reinforces these terrible mindset stereotypes about being on a diet. There's food you can eat and food you can't eat. There's good and there's bad. It reinforces the idea that I have to go without, or I have to be restricted, I have to be deprived of food I enjoy in order to succeed. And we know from hundreds of years of experience, I bet you know, that cycles of restriction and denial aren't sustainable. This whole idea that there's good or bad food I can or can't eat, is an unhealthy relationship with those foods. And that actually keeps us from achieving a sustainable relationship with food that we can do forever. So I'm not a fan of using watching what I eat or I'm watching my weight to tell people we're on a diet. Third time, and I'll cover more of that, by the way, in a moment. The third time that I imagined people saying it, I've heard people saying it, I've maybe said it sometimes, when we say it ironically or sarcastically, I guess, is when we're actually eating something we know is unhealthy for us. We're eating something that's high fat or high sugar, or we're eating something that in an unhealthy proportion. Oh yes, can't you tell I'm trying to lose weight, right? We say it sarcastically. And it reinforces this idea, this stereotype, that often we'll say one thing when we mean another in terms of, losing our weight. Think back to that politely declining. Sometimes we'll say that to someone And then, in the past, tell me if you've ever done this in the comments. Let me know if you've ever said no, thank you. You politely declined, but then ultimately gave in and had the thing. This is a dangerous precedent to set. And I get most of us have done it. Usually we cave, we buckle, we give in to the will of others. We think their opinion's more important than ours. And we end up having it. But what that does, of course, is that reinforces the idea that I'll say no to be good, right? To give the good impression that I'm serious about losing weight or getting healthy, but I don't really mean it. What I mean is I'm trying to deny myself with willpower. And it also can then end up reinforcing the idea that I don't have any willpower, that the food is in control, that I can't say no, that I have to please others and let go of my health and well-being. And by the way, none of those are paths to success. So I can take a joke, but I want you to really understand if you're using it as a joke. Do you really mean it that way? And watch out for the subtle effects. Number 4. And this is, I think, the most common use of I'm watching what I'm eating, or I'm just watching my weight, I'm watching my food. And that is, it's something I hear often from people I'm working with who are trying to feel virtuous about doing as little as possible. I get this response a lot from people when I'm asking them about specific strategies that they're using to help them give a weight loss result, or specific habits that they're trying to build in order to build a healthier lifestyle. And the reason why this one is such a pet peeve for me is because it's often a way of avoiding picking something to actually work on. What happens here is that the person is usually trying to get out of feeling bad about not actually working on their weight, right? I see this all the time. We're copping out of taking responsibility for all the things we could be doing, but aren't. Think about that. Now, if you disagree, that's okay. You use it differently. Let me know in the comments. I'm happy to have the conversation. But I really want you to think about if you've ever used it this way. I don't want to actually pick a specific goal, a specific habit, a specific behavior. I don't want an actual strategy. I'm just going to try and watch what I eat. What does it actually mean? Think about that. What does it actually mean to be watching what I eat? Or watching my weight? What are you actually watching? Right? Are you watching the calorie intake? Are you counting your points, or are you counting kilojoules? Okay, well, that's a strategy. If you want to get into a calorie deficit, a kilojoule deficit, you want to stay in a budget, fantastic. That's a great idea. I'm actually watching that. Okay. But that's not usually what you mean. Most people who say I'm watching what I eat aren't. Maybe you're watching your macros or your good health guidelines, your serving proportions, the serving sizes, so they're getting the nutrients you need for your nutrition to be healthy. Is that what you mean by watching what you eat? Most people don't mean that. That would be a strategy. Are you watching your triggers for eating? Right? Are you looking out? Am I watching what my triggers are in my body or in my environment for what I'm actually eating? Is it my hunger signals? Is it a particular time, a place? Am I watching the preceding events to eating? Am I checking in with my emotions? Am I monitoring those? Am I watching what triggers me to eat? Now that's a real strategy. That can be eye-opening. That awareness is important for success. Am I just watching what I eat? Think about it on the other side. Am I watching my body's response from food? Am I looking to society, my hunger levels? Am I looking at how that affects my energy, my vitality, my sleep? Am I watching the impact of that food on my body and my life? No, probably not. It's a shame, because all of those things would be worth looking at. Those are all important things to watch if you actually want to succeed. And of course, you don't have to do them all at once. I know some people feel like we're too busy, we're too hard, there's too much to do, so I can't do everything. Okay, good. I'm not about doing everything until they become habits, right? I'll talk about that a little bit later. But this is not what I think people mean. People don't mean any of those specifics. What we mean is, I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to eat healthily. And what that really means is I'm just choosing to eat foods that have a reputation for being healthy, like salads, and I'm avoiding unhealthy foods. I'm cutting out the junk, the crap, the fast food, the takeaway, the wine, the nuts and cheese, whatever. The things I think of as being unhealthy, I'm cutting them out. And the things I think of as healthy, I'm just eating those. But this is the diet mentality trap. This gets you into the idea of good food, bad food. Foods I can eat, foods I can't eat. And I'm not seeing that be successful for the long term. My philosophy is that you've got to make one small change at a time that you can live with. That in order to be successful for the long term, you actually have to understand how to have everything, any food you want, and every food you have, in a healthy balance. We can drop the good food, bad food. We can drop the on, off. We can choose instead to go, I'm changing my relationship with my foods. I'm understanding my causes for eating. If you're not sure about those, check out my videos. There's a 10-part video series on the fundamentals of healthy eating. Part 1 has all of the nutrition parts, and part 2 has all of the emotional, physical sensation parts, satiety and enjoyment and pleasure. So check those videos out. It's fundamentals of healthy eating. Now, I recognize, as I said, that sometimes we're busy, sometimes life is chaotic. So if it is your deliberately chosen first step in a larger process, right? If you're deciding, I'm starting with watching what I'm eating, making healthy choices, removing unhealthy foods as a first step, as just the minimum that I can do right now, then okay, that's great. I'm actually all for that. But I need you to check in, because for most people, that's not how they present it to me. It's the first step, or it's a step in the journey. It's not the whole journey. It's not the whole process. I see so many people going, that's the sum entirety of what I'm doing. I'm trying to watch what I eat. I'm trying to watch my weight. I'm trying to eat healthily, be good. That is not enough of a strategy for long-term success. Sorry to tell you. Right? Now, again, if it is just the step you are doing right now, today, this week, okay. If you recognize that's part of a bigger picture, fantastic, right? Long-term success will be about accruing incremental changes, because we actually have to change our habits. We have to change our behaviors, right? So it's okay to do one small thing at a time, right? One small change at a time that you can live with. That's my philosophy. One small change at a time. But it is not the last step. It's certainly not the only step that you have to take. So what do you need to do? Well, awareness is key, which is where I think this philosophy came from, this idea of watching what I'm eating, or watching my weight. Awareness is the first step. I have to understand what I'm eating, how much I'm eating, and why I'm eating it. Right? When we do that, when we pay attention, right, and notice when we're watching something here, I talked about all the things before. It could be hunger signals, could be a response in our body, could be triggers, could be macros or the nutrients or the kilojoules. So many things we could watch. But when we do that, we're watching with a purposeful intent. We're watching to discover what's working and what's not, so we know what to change and how much. If you really want to succeed with this journey, you have to discover what are the habits that are serving us in reaching our goals, and those that are actually leading us away. We want to discover what is and isn't sustainable for us, so that we can ultimately live our healthy life with ease, with joy, with pleasure. We can love being at goal and moving towards goal instead of hate it, instead of restrict it. This is such a difference, right? And I know it's insidious. I know it sounds like such a virtuous thing. I know it sounds like such a good idea to be watching what I'm eating, making good choices. Okay? Now, if I'm being deliberate with my choices, right? Okay, that's good. But if you're not being specific about what you're watching, right? You're not watching for a specific measurable purpose, then you aren't setting up for success. What you're really doing is crossing your fingers and hoping for a good result on the scales. You're hoping that the scales will be nice. And by the way, just in case you didn't realize it, the scales aren't a person. They can't be nice or be nasty. Only you can do that about your results. They can't do anything except tell you your relationship with gravity, this moment in time at this altitude. That's all they tell, right? They're neutral. They can only give you your weight today in that moment. Can't tell anything about how amazing a human you are, how powerful. They can't tell you about the healthy choices you've been making or the unhealthy choices you've been making. That requires a little more observation than watching our weight and watching what we eat. Okay, no worries, dude. Unfortunately, as I said, this whole philosophy of just watching what I eat, just trying to be good, make healthy choices, that whole idea of being on or off your diet, being good or bad, it really only works in those times when we're not stressed or busy, or there's no chaos, there's no unexpected events or trauma. Because so much of it is relying on willpower. I have to say yes to this and no to that in the moment. I have to white knuckle it. I have to force myself to do this. And it's almost like a subtext to going, I have to go against my will here. That's exhausting. And it's also then generally the first thing that goes out the window when things are chaotic or an unexpected event occurs. Some kind of trauma or interruption, disruption to your life. Something we couldn't focus. We're not in the right headspace. Yeah, because we weren't in the right headspace, right? That this is my life and I want to understand my habits, my triggers. I want to understand the real reasons why I've developed unhealthy eating habits and unhealthy choices in the first place. And I want to learn how to balance all of my choices so that I'm in a healthy balance, so that I can lose weight when I'm in losing weight mode, I can maintain weight when I'm in maintaining weight mode, and I can never have to feel deprived or like I'm missing out. I get to love the food I'm eating and eating the food I love. And finding that balance requires a little bit more attention, a little bit more in focus. We can't just hope to stick with it. I think we all know how that goes. Real life doesn't work that way. We don't always have our willpower up max. We're not always calm and cool and collected. We have to understand ourselves. So part one is awareness, right? So if you do want to do things differently, start to get specific about what exactly you are watching. Why are you watching that? Why are you making that choice instead of a different choice? What are you hoping to learn and or looking to change? And then watch that. Let's get real and actually decide on, here's one behavior I'm either taking notice of or I'm making a considered change to in order to succeed. And remember that cutting it out isn't really a strategy. Now, I understand sometimes you may have to cut back, you might have to remove an item for a short time, but like I did that with some of the things in my life. When I was first starting to lose my weight, I had to cut out a couple of things, but that's not the end of the story, because when they're cut out, you're not actually learning how to manage them. Manage being around those foods, having them presented, you're just avoiding it. So it's okay if you're spending that time working on some other habits to build up some strength, some resilience, some capability, to get some successes under your belt. then you want to reintroduce those foods. And notice once you're doing that, you can't be just cutting it out. You can't just be saying that, you can't be depriving or restricting. You go like, how do I have it now? Do I really want it? Why do I want that food? Really understanding your motivations. And if you're going to have them, you want to like your reasons. Not because you're weak or hopeless, but because it was a deliberate choice. If you don't know, dessert's my thing. I have dessert almost every day. I've had it every day since August 17th, 2006, except for 4 days when I was too sick to eat anything. In all those years, I have it, and I have it as a deliberate pleasure so that I can have everything in healthy balance. So I never feel deprived or restricted. Now, that's just a personal choice for me. Let's get real. Let's not fob it off. Let's not try to be virtuous out of doing the bare minimum. Unless you know that that's part of a larger journey, that this is the step you can take right now. But seriously, if you've been faking it, if you've been politely declining, if you've been using it ironically, or if you've been using it to get out of taking ownership and responsibility, I invite you to stop saying, I'm watching what I eat, and I'm watching my weight. Instead, decide on a specific part of your behavior, a specific action or habit that you want to be building. Decide to practice that instead. Now, if you feel a little overwhelmed or you feel a bit lost, you want some help to know what's important to pay attention to or how to understand your results, or if you want to know how to go about healthy, sustainable, long-term change, right? If you want to know how to lose weight to goal and live at goal, then get in touch. That's how I help people every day. Let's look at what's going on for you. Let's get you some first steps. Talk about what help you need to create your healthy, livable life. If you're interested in consultation, you'd like to find out the first steps, you'd love to talk about maybe working together, then you can book a consultation at livemorelife.com.au. Or you can simply reach out to me in the comments, in the direct messages. Now, I know some people might disagree with my take on it today. Maybe you love the phrase, watching what I eat. So if you disagree with me, if you've gotten angry during this video, that's okay. We're allowed to disagree. We're allowed to believe things differently from each other. So tell me in the comments what watching your weight or watching what you eat means to you, how you like to use it. And for everyone else who doesn't disagree, if you're ready to start to really pay attention and make changes, let me know in the comments, what will you be watching next? Get specific. Give yourself that gift. Choose one thing to pay attention to on purpose, and then make sure you stop and analyze what you've learnt so that you can decide what parts to keep, what you'd like to change or remove, and then come up with a plan for how you'll go about doing that next. And then you go watch your experience with that. Do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. That's how we create a healthy life. Remember, if you want some help with it, you can reach out to me. I can help you look over what you're doing and guide you in the process. Alright, well, I hope this video has been helpful. I really do share it with the honest hope that you'll take it on board and you'll use it to move yourself towards your goals. Let's drop the diet mentality. Let's drop the being good, being bad mentality. And let's stop watching what we eat. Instead, watch how much of it we're eating, how often we're eating it, why we're eating it. And watching how we could get it into a healthy balance so we can achieve our long-term success. Thanks for joining me today. I hope this has been useful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.